the other 3 quarters combined, and you just have some huge art selling holidays, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, that run up to the Christmas season. It just becomes an intense buying season. And so what we do now is summer is upon us. And in full swing is we need to start getting ready and getting our businesses ready for what's going to take place at the end of the year. So it's an exciting time in that context, especially. So agenda for today's session is I'm going to play a video. I played on this. I recorded. It's almost a year old now, actually. I was just looking at it today. But it is my you want to make it in this business. You want to be successful and have a growing business year after year. It is my you don't have to get a whole lot right as long as you don't get these things wrong list. And it'll talk about at a high level some ways to think about the business model, things you need to focus on, things you can ignore. And during the course of that video, I'm going to be talking about reports and PDFs and videos and books and everything else. And we're going to be like, hey, where are the links for all those things? I want to check it out. And the good news is once this thing is over, you'll get another email from me, and it'll be a webpage that looks like this. And on this page, it'll have links to all the various different things that I mentioned in the video. So you can just kind of click on them at your leisure, whatever ones you like, as well as watch a replay if you have to leave early or anything like that. So you can look for that email. I will be sending you that email. I think it goes like an hour or so once the video is finished and everything, an hour after the show is over. So that's what we'll do. During the course of the session itself, you'll notice on the bottom of your Zoom window, there's like a little chat button. It looks like a little, speech box thing in the middle. If you click that, what it does is it pops out a chat box like this. You can see Robert was chatting in there with me earlier. If you've got questions as it rolls along, you can throw things in there. I always like to do the, hi, Mom. Not that my mom is watching. Maybe she is. I don't know. So that's there. You can throw questions in there. I'm happy to answer those as the video rolls along. And then what we'll do after the video is over is we'll dive into some of this Q4 stuff, and then we can open it up for Q&A. Any questions you might have about where your business is, about what we do at Art Storefronts, how we can potentially help you, or really anything art and photography selling related is all open season. So that is the game plan. Look forward to seeing you guys on the Q&A. We will get the video fired up here, kick our Friday off in style. And then, I'm excited to talk about everything else after. So I'll see you after the video ends, and then we can get into the Q&A. All right. My name is Patrick. I run the marketing department here at Art Storefronts. Been doing that for about 6 years now. And that means I've been working on solving the problem that is, how do you sell art or photography by best leveraging marketing and digital marketing in particular. And it's an interesting problem to work on. There's not that many, art marketing agencies, for instance, right? Because it's a very, very hard problem to solve. Selling art and photography is not like selling every other item out there. A lot of tradecraft, a lot of nuance to it. In addition to that, I've been running 3 of these sessions since a little bit before the pandemic. So, year and a couple of months now. I don't believe that there's another human being on the planet that talks to more artists and photographers on a week in, week out basis. I have now at this point heard it all, seen it all, niche selection, pricing, sales, Facebook ads, branding, how to negotiate with the galleries, pricing, markup. I have heard and been through all of it over the last year. And in addition to that, we have like a little bit over 5,500 customers now. And one of the things that we do a great deal of is studying the ones that sell the best and studying quite in depth. For instance, who's capturing the most emails? How are they doing that? Excuse me. Who is the best on Facebook? Who is the best on Instagram? What are they posting? What kind of activity are they getting there? Who is selling the most art, period? Who is selling the most classes? Who is selling the most originals? Who's selling the most commissions? Metal prints, canvas prints. And you do all of that collectively. And why am I bringing all of this up? I think I can help you. I think today's Q&A after I'm done with the presentation can be insanely valuable. I think if you're struggling with something, I probably have a solution that can put you on the path. And I mean that in the biggest non-sales pitch way ever. I don't care if you ever do business with Art Storefronts, if you ever become a customer. I want the session to be valuable. I want to try to get you on a path to growing your art business to where you want it to be. I honestly believe that I can help you. So The Q&A will happen sort of after the presentation, and love for you to think about whatever questions you have, whether you've never sold your art before and you're just trying to get into it, whether you had robust sales pre-pandemic and the pandemic crushed you, whether you're struggling with a question of niche selection, what style should you be doing, or you're struggling with, how to price your work, or you're struggling with how to get attention to your work, which, let's be honest, 100% of you guys are struggling with that. Every single solitary artist and photographer is struggling with that. But point being, have your questions ready, and we'll get into the Q&A after the fact. But I want to start with sort of this new concept that I've come up with, and I call it the art selling pyramid, okay? And I sort of stole it from Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I don't know if you've seen this pyramid, right? But in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you've got the physiological needs at the bottom, right? And the concept of the pyramid is you have to sort the blocks on the bottom before you can even contemplate sorting the blocks on the top. And the physiological needs are first, right? We have to eat, we have to sleep, we have to do that daily. That has to happen every single solitary day before we can even contemplate working on safety and shelter and money. And then you go up the thing, and it's love and belonging and esteem and self-actualization. You can become a great person and all of that jazz. So let me give you the art selling pyramid, okay? Borrowed from Maslow. Same thing, pyramid, got to sort the bottom blocks, up we move. And the bottom block, the first block, is attention. And I know, without equivocation, that every single solitary person on this Zoom call has an attention problem. What is attention? It is the eyeballs that you need to be able to sell your work. It is people knowing who you are, seeing your work, interacting with you. And we live in a, in a world right now where attention is the currency of the land. It's not dollars, it's attention. You have the attention, you can do anything. Without it, you're not in the game. Does the best art that's being created get sold? No. The best art that's being created that gets seen gets sold. And attention is every single solitary one of our problems. And just like in Maslow's pyramid, you have to sort it daily. You have to be working on getting more of it daily. It is no different than eating and sleeping. And I look at this little pyramid, and a perfect way for me to explain it. Do you know who some of the most powerful women, not just in the United States are, but in the entire world are? It's the Kardashians. You want to know why? They have attention, okay? Any one of those women, any of those surgically enhanced women, could decide to start painting stick figures tomorrow and sell $35 million worth of art in the first year. Why? Because they have attention, okay? They understood what the currency of the land is. When you have the attention, you can do anything. Attention comes in two forms, rented and owned. Rented are YouTube subscribers and Instagram fans and Facebook followers, any social media followers you have on any of those sites. Why is it rented? It's rented because you don't own it. They can change the rules at any time. Still very important, but it's rented. The other kind of attention, the owned attention, really email addresses, most importantly. Secondarily, snail mail. And for some people that do text message marketing, it's phone numbers. But you have to work on building your attention day in, day out. It is a quotidian job. And ultimately, it's the biggest problem that every single solitary one of you on here have. Some of you think you have a website problem. Some of you think you have a pricing problem. Some of you think you have a problem negotiating with galleries. You can't even have any of those problems until you solve the attention problem. The attention problem is the whole ball game. And when you understand it, you start getting intentional. You start working at it. It is no different than eating and sleeping. What did you do to acquire more attention for your work today? If you're not working on that, then you can't even have any of the other problems. Next block, okay, after we solve the attention situation, we're working on it. It's a constant battle. It never ends. The outside of this block is number 1 and 2 here, and then I'm going to get into the block. Number 1 is the business model, okay? I believe that an artist or a photographer, if they want to build a successful business, has to understand the business model. The business model is selling direct, by which I mean you, the artist, the photographer, selling directly to your end customer. You retain the data on your end customer such that you are able to market to that customer in perpetuity. Many people, the way that the industry worked traditionally forever was people that did not retain this information. They sold through galleries, or maybe they did the show in their circuit, but they weren't the best at keeping up with these people and marketing to them in perpetuity. I got this book that I cite all the time, and it's by Weiland. Weiland is the whale guy, okay? And don't worry, I'm going to send you links to this. But he wrote this book. He sells it directly on his website. He's depending on who you talk to, he's the number one selling artist in the entire United States, probably even the world, to be honest with you, because of his business model and what he's done. And he talks in that book about this concept called a collector list. Okay. And for Weiland, a collector list are buyers of his art that sell or that buy in upwards of 7+ pieces over the course of a lifetime. And he treats this collector list like VIP. They are his collectors might as well be staying in the Four Seasons. He reaches out. He gives them special access to things. He likes their social media posts, and he continues to build that list. Okay, and fundamentally, it is one of the single solitary most important things any art or photography business can have. Collectors surface, you market to them in perpetuity, your prices continue to go up, they go along for the ride. Some of these people will buy in upwards of 20 and 30 and 40 pieces throughout the course of your life. And if you are not building that list, it's sort of like you're working a job and you're not putting any money away in a retirement account. It's almost like a 401k that just pays every single solitary year. And I can go into some detailed examples, but the goal is you come out with a new series. You have a show, right? Whether it's a photographic series or it's the series that you painted. You'll start out, and your collector list will maybe buy 2% of the show or 5% of the show. And your goal is just to build that list such that the percentage of the work that they buy goes up and up and up. And I've seen customers that I've worked with recently where 40 to 50% of the show is bought before anyone even sees it by their collectors, just gone. So you created 20 pieces, 10 are gone instantaneously because you have been cultivating a collector list, because you understand the business model. Okay. And it is, I mean, we're going to get into it, but it is so fundamental. And I've been doing this for a long time now. Okay. I've talked to a lot of people, and it breaks my damn heart because on a regular basis, people are coming on these calls. Okay. And they're in their late 40s, late 50s, late 60s, late 70s. They are at the top of their game. They have honed their craft to the greatest it's ever going to be. And guess what? They didn't understand the business model. And guess what? They didn't keep a collector list. And so guess what? The pandemic hit and all their offline revenue sources are gone. And they're coming on this call and they're going, Patrick, and this is how I envisioned it. They had the corner office, floor to ceiling windows, the giant executive desk, the big leather chair. And I'm telling them, I'm sorry, you're out of there and you have to go back to the mailroom and you're pushing the cart because you did not cultivate this list. Okay, you did not keep a collector list. You did not work on your marketing. You did not understand the business model. What do you have now? You have nothing. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Wait the pandemic out? Like half the galleries are closed. The ones that are still open are renegotiating the split from 50-50 to 60-40 because they have 100 different artists that they want to pick from. Go back on the show and their circuit. That's wonderful. That does not pay if it's not at 100% attendance. How long is it going to take for the show and their circuit to get back to 100% attendance? We don't know, but it's not going to be instantaneous, right? So really, really passionate about the business model. Really, really passionate about the collector list. I think the minute you understand that, boy, are you in a great place. Boy, are you in a great place. You're building it. It takes time. Okay. That's the outer shell. The inside of the block, 3 ways to sell art. There are 3 ways to sell art. Okay. Every single solitary artist, my argument, and photographer needs to understand the 3 ways to sell art and needs to be applying them in their business. Number 1, best way to sell art. Trick question of sorts. Everyone knows the best way to sell art. It's in person, face to face. It always has been. It always will be. Okay. In person, face to face is the best way to sell art. Anytime you have the ability to sell art that way, you do that. Problem: we are all of us geographically fixed on this planet. We all have to sleep. We can't have 15 conversations at once. So the third way to sell art, and I say third because it's the least important, is via your website. You absolutely have to have a website. The website solves for these problems when you're asleep, 15 people at a time, and for many of the geographic problems. The second way to sell art, okay, the newest way to sell art, the one the entire art selling world is trying to figure out right now, the greatest advancement in selling art since forever is exactly what we're doing right now. It is selling art via live video in either a one-to-one fashion or a one-to-many fashion. A one-to-one fashion, I go to Antonio's website. Antonio, these pieces are very interesting. What is that one behind you? I would like to buy it. Can we talk about it? Antonio goes, Patrick, no problem. Let me set up a Zoom call with you. I'll show you a couple of pieces and we can talk about it. I can get to know you. That is the one-to-one fashion. The one-to-many fashion, okay, which is mega interesting as well, is this concept of a live art show, okay? And if my What am I doing? There we go. So I have a couple examples of this I'm going to show. This is a painter in his garage studio. He has some works that he's trying to sell. He is streaming this to Instagram. He is streaming this to Facebook. He's streaming it to YouTube. He is holding the works up. He's talking about them. People can leave comments. They can purchase them. This is one particular type of these sales. This is a customer and a good friend of ours named Matthew Locke. We've run a number of these different initiatives with him. In addition, okay, to this concept of doing it in your studio, what happens if you have an actual show? He had an actual show in the middle of the pandemic. Now, attendance was limited. A bunch of people couldn't travel, so the attendance of the show was light. He still sold a bunch of stuff. The day after the show, what do? We turn the cameras on. He grabs a glass of wine, wears this ridiculous sleeveless shirt. I always make fun of him for the sleeveless shirts. I can't help it. I think it's funny. And what is he doing? He's walking through the show, and you notice people are leaving comments. We're highlighting the comments. He's walking through the show. He's explaining each of the pieces. Okay. So my point in showing this is the new, and I've got another one here too. I can rattle through some of the examples. This is crazy, but this is absolutely the future of selling art. It is the next best way. And when we contemplate, let me mute this, but I'll just give you something to stare at while I rant here. You know, if selling art in person, face to face, is the best way to sell art, then okay, everything that we do digitally tries to get as close as possible to that. Okay, and what would be the ideal way to sell art? Let's just say it's an art gallery that you own in your hometown. Okay, people can come in, they can get to know you, have a conversation, they can buy the art. For all the people that can't geographically do that, the next best way is this via live video. Again, one-to-one or one-to-many, a group show, right? And it's so close to the real thing. It's amazing. You don't have to leave your hometown. They get to know you. They get to interact with you. They feel like they have a bond with the artist. It is the future, full stop. And what's interesting is the entire world is trying to figure this out right now. Okay? The entire art selling world is trying to figure it out. Your industry doesn't have a lot of reports. There's two big ones, okay? There is the Art Market 2021 report. They do one of these each year. It's from Art Basel and UBS. I'm going to send you links to the report. I want you to read it. It's amazing. It's incredible. The disclaimer on it is these guys report on the top 1% of the art selling market, right? Like the highest of the high end. The top auction houses in Christie's, the top auction houses and the top art selling dealers and the top galleries and stuff. But the report is still very, very relevant, okay? And the link we'll send you. You can download the entire report, which I recommend you do. I think you'll find it really insightful. But they have these key findings too, which is like this snazzy little webpage they built to talk about it. And so I can go in here, I can explore this thing. We've got some lovely little graphs. But you read this report, and what they call it, and I'll quote, Chapter 5 looks at the online art market and the rapid evolution in sales in 2021. The chapter shows how the dealer sector shifted sales online in 2020 and the development of online viewing rooms, OVRs. Do you know what online viewing rooms are? A snooty way to talk about a Zoom call, okay? A snooty way to talk about exactly what we are doing right here, right now. So this is the future of how to sell art in an incredible fashion. I always feel like a bit of a Yahoo to share numbers, but I'm going to share numbers because it's going to give this whole entire thing some teeth, okay? So Matthew Locke, longtime customer, great friend, normally does the full dog and pony gallery shows. In the middle, so this was on June 9th, 2020, he did 2 of these over a 15-day period. He sold 62 pieces for a little bit over $30,000 Canadian. From his basement, no 50-50 split, direct, didn't have to leave. This is his garage studio. It's where he paints. Didn't even leave his living room. This gal, Meg, also a customer, she was moving studios, legitimately moving studios from one studio to another. This was about a month ago that we ran this. And, you know, just to underscore my collector list, okay? This particular sale was teased on a Friday. On Monday, she emailed her collector list. Her collector list bought 46% of the show. She sold a little bit less than, I think, 76 different pieces for $15,000. Now, the pieces in this particular show were like the color studies, right? They weren't like the full buttoned up pieces. I'm trying to get to one where she's actually holding one. You know, there were color studies, there were sketches, there were smaller works, right? Stuff that was just involved in it. But the point is, this is absolutely the future. It is such an incredible way to sell art and photography. The entire world is trying to figure it out. You get people using various different, at the snooty end, it's OVRs, online viewing rooms, or the art fairs and shows that are trying to keep the booth deposits. What's their line that they love? We're going to have a virtual art show, right? Everyone is trying to figure this out right now. I do not know what floor this particular elevator is going to go to. My guess is it's going to go very, very, very high. What I'm saying is right now, this elevator is on the ground floor and the doors haven't even closed yet. The whole world's trying to figure this out. And there is so much tradecraft to it. I can't even begin to tell you. This particular Zoom call, I have all you guys in a Zoom call right now, right? This is also being streamed to 2 YouTube channels, to a Facebook channel, to Twitter, all at once, all simultaneously. Everyone is trying to figure this out, and it is the most effective way to sell art, period. And so step 1 is becoming aware of it. Step 2 is starting to practice it and put it into practice. And I guarantee there's probably not a single solitary person on this call that is doing it. And people ask, what is it that you do at Art Storefronts? We teach our customers how to sell art and photography in the most advanced ways possible. And because I don't care, 90%, I tell people these things, 90% of the people will never, ever even do it. So I don't even care to give away the tradecraft. I'll give away the tradecraft right now. So my sleeveless associate here, Matthew, is using wireless Apple AirPods connected to his iPhone, which has this stream going out live on Instagram. We are leveraging software that is streaming it, that's putting in this little title here, right? And his logo and the banner at the bottom to inquire, and it's pulling the comments in. So cell phone, earpods connected to Instagram on the phone, laptop, computer, Facebook, personal Facebook, YouTube account, all of that goes down all at once simultaneously. And you can see there's numbers here. If the number 2 thing goes away, he's even got little numbers here. Why? Because the people on Instagram can't see the graphics that we have on the screen. And so they need to know, okay, was that number 2 or number 3? You can't really see it, but it's like right behind here. There's like a little thing. Yeah, there it is. See, number 5. And we're on number 5. So everyone knows. There's a million little things like that. What is the best combination of the technology? How do you announce it? What do you do during the course? And don't worry, I'm going to send you guys, I'm going to send you these shows after the fact so you can watch them and pick up what you like. But this is absolutely the future, you guys, and it is completely changing the game. And you don't need to leave your house, and there are no booth fees, and there's no loading up the car and driving somewhere and staying in some crappy hotel and eating crappy food and then hoping you're going to see an ROI. There is no limit to the amount that you can run. It is the most beneficial use, highest ROI use of an artist or a photographer's time I could even imagine right now. It's not even close. And again, whole world's trying to figure it out. So those are the 3 ways to sell art. I got to get back to my pyramid. You have to be running all 3, and you have to be doing all 3 consistently all year long. So we start by constantly gathering attention. We start by recognizing the business model, collector list, as well as the 3 ways to sell art. Then we get to the top of the pyramid, which is everything else. What do I mean everything else? You have a brick and mortar gallery that's working out for you, that's bringing in revenue to your business. Fantastic. We love revenue. I have never met a revenue source I don't like. Keep it going. But it's in addition, okay? Not in lieu of working on attention. Not in lieu of working on the 3 ways to sell art and building your own collector list. What if it's an online gallery? Maybe it's Saatchi or Fine Art America or Redbubble or Etsy or any of the others. Is it bringing in revenue? Fantastic. I've never met a revenue source I don't like, but it's in addition to everything else, okay? It's in addition to getting your own attention. It's in addition to the 3 ways of selling art. So too, if you're doing the show and thayer circuit, we love the show and thayer circuit. It's fantastic. I can't wait for it to come back. It is a great way to build attention, but it's in addition to those 2. You understand this pyramid, okay? You start working on this pyramid, and you are going to be on the path towards building a successful art or photography business. You don't, and you don't control the rules. You do not control the stakes. You can have the rug ripped out from underneath you at any point in time, which I've seen again and again and again on these calls. And one of the things that no one talks about, okay, and does not get mentioned enough. 3 of these a week for a year and a half, okay? It's not hyperbole. That many of them. Every single solitary week, there are people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and I would say once every 2 weeks, somebody in their 90s comes in on these calls asking questions. And so why do I bring that up? understand the perspective of how long you guys are going to be artists and photographers selling your art or photography. Okay. You guys don't go through midlife crises. Doesn't happen to creatives. You don't decide all of a sudden you're going to stop being a painter and you're going to go rent jet skis in Florida for the summer and that's going to be your job. Okay. So when you have the perspective figured out that you are going to be working at this for the rest of your life into your 90s in many cases, it underscores how important it is to understand this pyramid, to start working on this pyramid. And guess what? It's not going to be easy at first if you're just getting started. It's going to be a pain in the butt. You know, I'm looking at Rick there, and Rick, if you have not been building that list the entire time, when I'm telling you have to learn how to email market and social media market, and you need to start doing it on a regular basis, that can be frustrating, but it's not frustrating when you got another 25 years of growth in this doggone business. So what does Art Storefronts do at the end of the day? We teach you how to do the pyramid. Yeah, we give you a website. And yeah, we put you into a university where there's no graduates because the learning never stops. That's really, in a nutshell, who we are, what we do. Boy, is that part of it true too. Nothing stays static in marketing land, certainly. So that gives you kind of at a high level some of the things that we think that are important to focus on to understand. For those of you guys that came late, halfway through the presentation, all good, don't worry. Going to send you a page that looks like, not that one. Let's see, do I have it up? Like this one that'll have links to all of those things in those videos so you can follow up, check it out if you are so inclined. But we can dive right into the Q&A, or we can talk a little bit about Q4 and the fact that it's coming, biggest art selling time of the year. Time to get ready right now. In terms of the Q&A, if you look at the bottom of the Zoom window, there is this little smiley face thing, and it says reactions. If you click that, it gives you the ability to raise your hand, digitally speaking, and that lets me know that you have a question. Or if you're one of the brave ones with the camera on and you have a question, all you have to do is raise your hand, and I will know that you have a question. And we can do it that way. If you do not want to turn your camera on, you do not have to turn your camera on. Okay, I hate being on video. I totally understand that. And then also, if you're one of the ones that's watching on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, I can see your comments as well. You can see I'm having a conversation with Larry in there, and you can ask questions that way as well. So all I need is one brave person to kick us off today. Who's feeling brave? And I'm a little bit worried that Natalia is driving over there. I can see you driving, Natalia. Eyes on the road. Eyes on the road. She's laughing. I once had on one of these things like a UPS guy driving, you know, and he was literally driving his route, and he had the phone on like one of those little like cell phone holders on the dash, and he's like, hold on, and he would grab a package, go run to the door, come back, and he'd be like, okay, let me just finish up my question. It's like, I don't know. My generation grew up with the Jetsons, and the Jetsons like had like the little video like control screens, and now we have them, and it's kind of crazy. But come on, I need someone brave. Let's go. Who's gonna break the ice? First time question. All right, Emily, you've been on here before. You got to kick us off. See, that's what I'm talking about. Emily's raising her hand. All right, what do you got?
I like to let other people, talk first, because sometimes what other people say spawn questions, or you guys just spark questions for me. But I have two, kind of both of which are, I guess, random questions, and topics that you haven't talked about yet, but have talked about in the past. Around having multiple price points.
Yes.
I work the circuit, and I go to shows, I go to events, things like that, and I've got things in a variety of prices. From
Did you get my ultimate guide for shows and fairs? Did you see that yet?
I did, but I haven't read it yet. Yeah. Admittedly. As a matter of fact, I think I got it and I marked it as unread this week, so I could go back and do it. But I had a question around not just about that, but around the fact that I launched my website, soft launch. I soft launched my website last month, and I made sure like everything, all my paintings are like solid. Every painting I have for sale is on it. Most of the prints I have are, but not yet, the progress over perfection. What I don't have on it, because when I was setting it up, the ability to import from my Etsy site was an option. So I imported the products from my Etsy site, made it a lot easier to set up. However, I have jewelry from my Etsy site. So I'm wondering to myself, jewelry sells a lot at my shows. It's painted jewelry, but and so I'm wondering myself, do I keep the jewelry and like the smaller stuff, like I've got little change purses with my art printed on something. Do I keep the smaller stuff for the in-person walk away with this,
No. I would put it up.
Okay.
I would put it up.
Okay.
Because it handles it handles the sub $100 price point, right?
Okay.
If it's selling in the real world, it will sell online. Period.
I have prints available for under, obviously, for $100 under $100, but I do sell a lot of jewelry yet at Christmas time. But I just wondered if it was worth the effort of getting it all on there, and then like once I sell something at a show, I have to make sure it's off the site, things like that. So I just was wondering what your perspective was.
No, if it's selling offline, it'll sell online. Get it on there.
All right, cool. And then have you had any experience with? I'm sure you have. If I'm moving from an Etsy site to my website, how I don't have my list of customers, right? How do I get their attention? Like I'm thinking to myself, should I create a product?
It sucks.
Should I create a product and the product is go see my website? Pretty sure that would be illegal.
No, Etsy knows what they're doing. They're not going to let you have your customers, and that's the name of the game. It's not even worth stressing about. It's like,
so just forget it. They're done. They're gone.
Yeah, it's the problem with the gallery model, right? That's what I talk about all the time. It doesn't matter if you're doing an in-person retail gallery or you're doing an online gallery. If they're providing the customers, you get access to them, but you don't get to know who they are. And you certainly don't get to contact them, and those are the rules.
Okay, those were my 2 starter questions, and we'll see if I think of anything else as the quick Q&A goes on.
Love it. Awesome. Thanks, Sam.
Yep.
Good question from Facebook, and I love this, Arlene. Is it better to put up a lot of artwork at one time or just keep introducing a little at a time? My site was live for 5 days now. I have a lot of inventory. You're doing it completely correctly, Arlene. You get live, you get it so the site is up, so that it can start taking credit card and taking orders, and then you just introduce the pieces as you go. And each time you introduce one, it can end up being a marketing moment. So that's absolutely the best way to do that. Fantastic to do that. What I hate is like I will just get started when I have all of my inventory up, or when I have all my pieces photographed, or when I figure out what my niche is, or when I get my logo done. And the days turn into weeks, turn into months, turn into years. No positive steps have been taken whatsoever in that business, and it breaks my heart when I see that. We don't want to have that happen. So get going. Get going right away. That's what I would say. And Steve, I see your questions. I'm going to unmute you. You can just ask via audio if you're so inclined. Gotcha. Yeah, I got you, Steve. You're unmuted. You should be able to just talk.
Yeah. Okay. Wait a minute.
Yep, I got you. Oh, no, I had you, and then I lost you. Click the microphone icon again.
Okay, how's that?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. I forgot what was the question I had. Oh, I forgot what it was because I'm working so hard trying to get on here.
Yeah, you were asking about fees, the hosting fees versus the monthly fees that we charge. The only
I know there's an initial fee one-time fee you pay, and I think it's what $1,000 or $2,800.
Yeah, we bundle. The easiest way to think about it is there's the website and the technology and all the bells and whistles, okay, and you pay for that monthly, and then the rest of it. We're really just a postgraduate university in art and business marketing. You pay a tuition fee to get into the university one time, and you get the benefit of that for the life that you're a member. So it's really doing 2 things, right? Like, you're buying the computer and then you're buying the software kind of a thing. Once you buy the computer, you only have to buy it once.
Right. Oh, okay. There was another follow-up to that. Oh, so I know you had a special that probably, I think it went dead today for building your website. How much does that cost?
Well, we up till today, I think it's completely free. We just build the website for you.
Oh, so I don't have to worry about that now.
Yeah, you don't even have to worry about it at all, which is nice. One less thing, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because let me tell you what I've found, Steve, is that most artists, like, it's the thing they fear the most is death, then taxes, then public speaking, and then having to build a website. Those are like the top 4 artist fears in life, right? No one wants to build their website. Like, I don't want to do that. And it's an interesting thing that we've done. We've never done it before, where we build the website for you for free. And what's been really interesting about it is you realize that, like, with that stress taken off our customers' like minds, they immediately just go right into their marketing. Instead of like, oh gosh, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to get it all built. It's going to take me 2 months. They're just working on their marketing right away, day one. And so it's gonna lead to successful customers quicker, which is awesome.
So basically, all you're doing is putting up images and marketing.
You don't even put them up. You just say, here's the images, here's the titles, get it up for me, and they build the entire thing. They, you have to send them some text and stuff, but yeah, they do the entire thing for you.
Right. Huh. Okay. And I got more, but they're coming out slow.
No, that's all right. It's all good. It's a Friday.
What's the other one? Oh, so right now I use SmugMug.
Mm-hmm.
So do I have to do anything special to bring my domain over, or how does that work? Y'all take care of that?
Yeah, we'll walk you through how to do it. It's pretty easy. It's just you own the domain, and currently it's pointing at SmugMug. All you have to do is log in, and instead of pointing it at SmugMug, you point it at us, and it's done.
And so whatever the domain costs me is included in your monthly cost?
No, you own the domain, so that's yours. But normally it only costs like $9 or $14 a year or something like that. That's pretty
something like that. Yeah, it's not. Oh, because I want to keep that domain.
Yeah, you got to keep that domain. That's your address on the World Wide Web, right? You don't ever give that up. That's you. It goes with you wherever you go.
So once I switch over to you, because I've been in with them for years, I've never been with nobody else. Mm-hmm. But once I switch over to you, everything will just automatically come up. What will it be, like a storefront attached?
Yeah, it's just your website on our platform.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay. What are the labs you use?
So on the West Coast, we use Bay Photo. On the East Coast, we use a company called Graphic Dimensions. You can pick either one. It doesn't matter at all. They're both about the same size labs in terms of, like, their pricing, the media types that they offer, the volume of business that they do a yearly basis, which is really important because that's how you get good shipping rates. So they're both top labs.
How does it work if I say, well, I want to buy a copy of this print for myself?
Yeah, so those are called wholesale orders, and what you do is you just go into your back end and you place the order, and then they just ship it right to you.
Oh, okay. Well, that pretty much covered everything I have for right now. Awesome.
See, we got it all figured out, Steve. It took a sec, but they all came out. You had them in there. All right. Well, good questions. Thank you. And I know, I'm sorry. Look, this is what happens when you offer the free website setup. Arlene is like, what? How did I miss that? I worked on mine for 2 solid months. I know, Arlene. I'm sorry. Wasn't my idea. It is a good idea, though. So Marjorie in the chat is asking, how do you promote and sell with prints on demand? Same way you promote and sell any other way, Marjorie. You have to do regular and consistent marketing. The only difference is that you don't have to have any inventory. People so vastly underestimate how awesome print on demand is, and don't take it as like a sales pitch. We're not the only outfit out there that offers print on demand. But I was writing an article for something like a little bit earlier today, and it's like, do you realize back in the day how much harder it was on you guys? Like, You had to keep physical inventory of things. You had to do all the shipping and the fulfillment and the tracking numbers. You had to deal with the minimum orders of various different things. You had to warehouse all this stuff. The fact that you don't have to do any of that has made it so easy. It is honestly like one of the best advancements in the art and photography world in forever. It's incredible, because what no one understands is all the time and energy and effort that it would normally take to do all of that is all time you get back to work on your marketing, which is the only thing that actually moves the needle, right? The marketing is the only thing that actually grows the business. What doesn't grow the business is you dealing with admin and you driving down to the printer and you getting the tracking number and you sending the tracking number to the customer and you hoping they get it and that. It's a waste of time. That does not fundamentally put more money in your pocket. It does not fundamentally grow the business. So I love that it's available. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean, that all of a sudden the business is easy. You still have to work at it. You still have to do your marketing. It's still a grind, but huge leg up, just a huge leg up in terms of everything. So I don't know if that answers your question, Marjorie, or not. I'll try and find you here. I can unmute you. Gretchen, see, I'm loving this question. Gretchen's asking, and I'm going to unmute you, Gretchen. She's asking, can I do a live show on my Facebook page versus a business page? More followers on the personal page. Yes, you can. You can certainly do it that way, but it's one of these things, Gretchen, where you want to build the house on a foundation that can handle a really big house, right? And so, like you're saying, okay, my house is really small on my business page right now. It only has one room. And I say, yeah, you're right, Gretchen. But at the same time, the foundation can have you build that thing into a skyscraper, right? On your personal page, you limit out to 2,500 friends, I think. And on the business page, you can go to hundreds of thousands. So early on, what I usually do is I cheat. So grab the phone, just do it on your personal page, download the video after the fact, and then upload it to the business page. Or you can just share it to the business page. But that's probably how I would do it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I love where your head's at. And then also, too, for you, Gretchen, because you're about to do it, in the follow-up thing that I'll send you, let me find this. Hold on. So in the follow-up thing here, I have how to run live art shows, a quick start guide. I'm really proud of this thing. It's actually pretty awesome. And on the first page, I go through basically all the reasons. You guys just watched a lot of it in the presentation, right? But I go through all the reasons why these things are so awesome, and I give you some real stats, some real photographers, everything else. I explain how it's just absolutely the future and extremely, extremely powerful. But down here at the bottom is download the guide. And if you download the guide, it's download the guide. It's just another web page. But on the guide, I walk you through everything you need to do to get started. And then in the where to stream the show section, I've got how to go live on Facebook.
All right, guys.
And so there's literally a step-by-step tutorial. Juan on my marketing team walks you through all the buttons you need to push, boom, exactly how to do it, exactly what it's going to look like. And that's for Facebook. For those that want to do it on Instagram, I teach you how to do that step-by-step, all the buttons on the cell phone, real work. So that'll be in the follow-up material that I send you guys. Yeah, Steve's asking, limited editions is super, super easy. All day long. Takes 2 seconds. So very, very easy to do that. Marjorie's asking, does the free website build come with paying the $1,000? Yes, it does. It absolutely does. And the best thing to do if you guys haven't had a demo is just request a demo on our website. It'll be in the email, the follow-up email I send you. It's an hour-long Zoom session that walks you through all the bells, all the whistles, all the features, all of this, all of that. They walk you through all the pricing, all the various different plans and everything else, which, I'm not as up to speed on as the ones on the outreach team are. But Darlene, you're up next. Go ahead. And you'll need to unmute, Darlene. Yep, gotcha.
Okay. Where do I?
No, you're good. All you got to do is just talk, Darlene. I can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem.
I have been painting for a little over a year. I do impasto painting, texture painting. Mm-hmm. And I've done some flea markets. Some I've had success and some were awful. Mm-hmm. I do have a website. that I got through GoDaddy.
Mm-hmm.
I also have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter,
Okay.
and I do have a Facebook page just for my art.
Okay.
What do I need to do? I guess everything you talked about today.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to learn how to market. But just out of curiosity, so has the work sold to strangers?
Yes.
Good. Good. That's the key starting point early on, because once you know that you're capable of producing a product that the market wants, i.e., that strangers will pull their hard-earned dollars out and purchase, then you move on to having a marketing problem like all of us, Darlene. Which, how do I get more eyeballs to art storefronts? How do you get more eyeballs to your art? And that's what we teach you to do all year long.
I get a great response from Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
my page, but nobody wanting to buy.
Exactly, because that's the whole marketing, right? And the way that I always answer that, Darlene, because it's a trap. It's a huge trap, and the trap comes in a number of different formats. And the way that I usually characterize it is, it can be anything from, I get so many likes and comments and shares, or I did a reel and I got 10,000 impressions or views, or everyone tells me my work is great and I should sell it, or I got into a juried art show, or I won best in show at the such and such festival. And then I respond with, okay, I'm going to show up at your house. I'm out front right now. That's me knocking on the door. Jump in the car. I'm going to go down to the local ATM machine, and you show me the button on the ATM machine for likes, comments, shares. Everybody tells me my work was great. I was in a juried show. That button on that ATM machine does not exist, because none of that matters, right? The only thing that matters is the work is selling, and there's a number of different marketing strategies, many of which I covered on the Zoom that speak to that. And you have to learn how to do them. You have to start doing them consistently, and you have to do them for years and years and years. And admittedly, when you're just getting started, it is a pain in the butt. You will be pulling your hair out of your head. Okay? You will be frustrated. It will be annoying. You have to learn how to do things. But once you do, and once you're learning how to do those things with a group of your peers, it gets easier. And as long as you stay at it consistently, your business will grow. If you don't, there's no easy path. Everyone loves to say this formula, that formula. It's all nonsense. It's all regular and traditional marketing that you have to do consistently, and it's not easy.
Yeah, and I get it with in person, especially with my art, because I can, on a picture they cannot see all the texture unless I do multiple,
Oh yeah,
pictures of that one painting. I also do for the different price points. I have jewelry, and I also make textured greeting cards so that I can hit the low end and the upper end.
Mm-hmm.
But I have not sold in person. I have not sold any jewelry or my greeting cards yet.
Yep, got it. Yeah, at the end of the day, Darlene, you have the marketing problem. Same problem we all have.
All righty.
But don't worry about the impasto stuff. Every individual niche sort of has its own, strong points and not strong points, right? Like, one of the artists that you saw in that little video earlier, I mean, he puts so much impasto on his work that some of it takes like 8 weeks to dry before he can even ship it. And
wow.
He does extremely well. So he's like, honestly, one of our, like, I think I have one of his photos here. Let me see if I can find it. I love this guy's work. I actually think he's one of the most talented artists. I mean, like, look at this. That it is so thick. It is so thick on it that I can't even begin to tell you. And this painting is almost like as big as me. And like some of this stuff like comes off. Some of that stuff like comes off the canvas, like it feels like a half an inch sometimes. So don't worry, you can still do it.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Get a demo, Darlene. We can help you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Yes, Marjorie, we do have all those features. I'm just going to unmute you, Marjorie. I feel like you have a bunch of follow-up questions. 11 a.m. CST, 1 p.m. CST. Are you there, Marjorie, or no? I can't tell. Let me see. No, you're still muted. Maybe Marjorie's at work. You never know. I get a lot of people that are at work, and they're like, I can't talk. Oh, there you are. There you are. Okay. Marjorie, I unmuted you. So you just have to hit the microphone icon in the bottom left-hand corner. So it's this one right here in the bottom left-hand corner. If you click it just once, that'll do it. Did you get it? And you just do one click on it, bottom left-hand corner of that window on your screen.
Okay, there I am.
Boom. Gotcha.
So how much is the monthly fee?
So the monthly fee for website hosting, depending on which plan you pick, I think it's either $40 or $60 a month, depending on which one you do, or 40, 50, 60, something like that.
Okay.
In the demo process, have you gone through the demo yet?
No, I have a website on FASO right now. It's probably and I used to work in Silicon Valley. I know how to make websites. I've made 3 or 4 of my own.
Yep.
But
you know what the number one thing artists should not be doing is making websites.
Well, I enjoy it because I want to know, I want to be able to do it the way I want it. So if you do it for me, can it be a collaborative process?
Ish. The problem with artists doing it, Marjorie, is you guys break all the basic rules of e-commerce, and you're left with a website that looks pretty and looks the way that you want it to look, and that is utterly and totally feckless at selling.
I would be careful what you say, because my other life was in sales and public relations and marketing and advertising. I was there for 25 or 30 years. So I'm not one of these artists that doesn't know how to sell things or know retail.
Yeah. You know how to sell things, but from a web standpoint,
I would want to do it so that it sells correctly.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is I would want to be involved in what paintings are on the website.
Of course. I don't mean that. I mean, like, in terms of the way that the website looks and how it's laid out and what functionality it has and certain language to use in certain places and how to set markups and pricing and such. Like, we're very good at that, and we've sort of figured out what works over our customer base in the course of our time. The art, you absolutely pick the art. You absolutely write the text and the About Me section and everything else. We just do all the rest for you.
Okay.
You know my favorite mental model on it is, and I say this from years and years and years of experience doing this now. And what I realize, like, one of the biggest flaws that artists and photographers have when it comes to a website is they look at what the website is supposed to do through the complete wrong lens. And the questions that they attempt to answer with their website is this going to represent me and my brand? Is it going to be a proper portfolio for my site? Is it going to conform with what I would like to see aesthetically, right? And all of those people that do that and go through that process end up with a website that never sells anything. And all they do is they hop around from one website to a marketplace to another website. And it's not that they're solving their problem wrong, per se. It's that they're solving the wrong problem. They're working on the wrong problem. And all of you guys have a marketing problem at the end of the day. You need more eyeballs to your art, to your photography if you want to be successful. And there's certain there's certain norms that you need to conform to on the website. And there are pricing structures that you need to set up on the website. And then does your website make it easier for you to market your art? Is it effective at capturing leads? is it really effective at quickly being able to execute on sales and then put everything back to normal? And if you can't answer those questions, and if you don't have that technology, it really puts you at a disadvantage. And my final favorite analogy is like, everybody that goes and builds their own website or grabs like one of the templated sites from one of the other builders, they're trying to reinvent the wheel. They're trying to reinvent the wheel, essentially. They're saying, like, this is how I want to display my art, and this is how it's aesthetically pleasing to me. And the reality is that all we're attempting to do digitally with our websites is replicate the best art buying experience that exists. What is the best way to buy art in the real world? It's inside of an art gallery, right? It's inside of an art gallery. And when you walk into most art galleries, they're pretty much all the same. And what do you notice when you walk inside of an art gallery? Blank white walls, the art on the wall,
Yeah, white walls
properly
with
lit up.
paintings on them that have prices.
Yeah, maybe a little table to take credit card and nothing else. And yet when I look at all these other websites that artists build, there is all kinds of goofy, crazy stuff going on. Image sliders and animation and crazy fonts and different colors. And it's like, if anyone even
You want
sees the
it
art.
simple. Mine
Yes.
is simple if you
Yes.
could look at it.
Simple and minimalist.
So what do you mean by pricing structures? Can you elaborate on that?
Oh,
How
yeah.
do you?
Absolutely.
Because I have established, I've been selling my work for like 25 or 30 years, and I've established prices for my work in the marketplace.
Yes. So it's a simple mathematical formula. And again, this is one of these things where we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just taking what's worked in traditional retail forever and ever and ever. For you, and I'll tailor it to you. For you, it's not about changing the prices that you have currently, although we might make some suggestions in terms of markups. It's about having the proper range of pricing.
Yeah.
You need to have prices from $0 to $100. You need to have prices from $100 to $1,000, and then you need to have prices over $1,000. If you're already up at like 10, 12, 15 on your originals, then I would argue you need to have pieces priced at like 50, 60, and 70. And you don't need to have a lot, but you just need to have a couple. And it's for a number of different reasons. One, once you start marketing and getting your messaging out there, everyone's customer base will potentially fall into the socioeconomic bell curve. Low-income folks, lower middle class, upper middle class, high net worth individuals, the standard issue bell curve. If you don't have
I understand that. Yeah, I understand that. I probably could have some lower price.
You need it.
Things because I don't really have anything less than $100.
And what ends up happening, Marjorie, is
Except
I love your creativity. I love what you're doing. I can't afford that right now. And so because you don't have a price for me, I'm going to leave. And unfortunately, when I leave, you're no longer top of mind. But if you did have a price for me, what if it was a coffee cup or a calendar, whatever it is? And now, every day when I wake up, I drink my coffee, Marjorie, in a cup that has your work in it. 2 years from now, I've now moved out of my mother's basement. I have just bought my first house, and I'm ready to buy my first piece of art. Because I've been looking at your work every day for the last 2 years, every time I have my coffee, the first person I'm coming to is you. You're not getting that sale right now because they forgot about you, right? And so it all comes down to how you maximize the ROI from the marketing dollars that you are spending. And when you don't have those lower price items, you don't stand a chance. And it's also why you have to have non-wall art related items, because not everyone is ready to buy wall art all the time. And so you need to have something to sell those folks that love what you do and they're just not in the market for wall art right now. I mean, we play as a business. One of like the most difficult things that we have to continually teach our customers is like, we are all playing the long game. Okay. We are working to set your business up, not for next year, not for the next 5 years, but for the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, right? And when you market consistently and you're constantly bringing customers in at all of these various different price points along that bell curve, you never know when they're going to come back and when they're going to be ready to buy. Your job is to acquire as many of them as you can and to market to them consistently. When you do that, the businesses just consistently continue to grow year after year after year. The collector list continues to grow year after year after year. And very few people ever do it consistently and ever play that long game.
Yeah, I have a collector list.
Yeah, then you're ahead by, you have no idea how far you're ahead by. I go as far to
Probably
say
about 25 collectors.
that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. That's how it starts. And those people will continue to buy work from you for the rest of your art creating life.
And I had planned on getting lower price things in the print on demand by offering prints on demand, but you're saying I could also offer things like note cards.
Yeah, you have to. You have to do the merch. You have to do the merch. It's just marketing. The merch is just marketing, right? Like you could spend that money on a Facebook ad, or you could be a realtor, that gives me a little notepad with your face on it, and I'm writing notes on that little note with your face on it every single solitary day. Like, everything that we do digitally, it really just comes down to regular, traditional, tried and true retail marketing stuff that has worked for centuries, right? We just need to bolt it into our business.
One thing I did recently was I had note cards of 3 of my paintings that fit well on a note card and that had been popular, that people liked. And I sent 6 each, 2 images, 6 each cards to about 20 of my collectors. And I put in a little thank you note that said, it's fun to get something in the mail when you're not expecting it.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you for supporting my work over the years. And I got such a huge, because I wanted to have, and then I thought, I'm going to send them that. And then in about a week or 2, I'm going to call each one personally on the phone. And so that'll be a reason for them to talk to me, because and I've gotten so many thank yous. Not everyone has given me a thank you, but a lot of them did.
Oh, it's wonderful. That's wonderful.
And they went over the top. So that was a way to keep connected personally. It's really difficult because some of the venues where I've sold my work have closed because of COVID or one thing and another.
Yeah, well, because of COVID, and also the same reason Blockbuster Video closed everywhere when Netflix came around, right? Like, that is getting totally inundated. But what she just explained that she did, by the way, love that. Like, step 1 is building and cultivating this collector list. Step 2 is treating them like they are staying at the Four Seasons, okay? And I've got a great example of this, and I want to just show it off quickly. So the guy behind me, actually, and let me get the zoom out of the way. So the guy behind me at this painting that he created here was part of a show, this huge show that he did, and the show was called, what was it called? It was What Would I Be Without You is what it was called, right? And you can see he's got a bunch of these works here on this web page, and he was getting ready to do the show, right? And the show is a retail, in-person, full dog and pony, gallery, wine, cheese, bartender, the whole thing. But what we did, and I worked with him on this project. Oh, you guys are, oh no, you are looking at it. Is before the show, I had him make 25 personalized YouTube videos. So watch this.
25. Wow, that's a lot of YouTube videos.
Wow, it's been such a long time. I hope you and John are doing great.
So this was a personalized message to this guy, Don, who's a collector, who's bought 3 or 4 pieces of his work. And it essentially said, hey, Don, it's great to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you and your significant other are doing well. Just wanted to let you know I'm having this huge show coming up. And I don't know if you can make it or not, but as a way to say thanks for the patronage that you showed my business over the years, I wanted you to be able to see the entire thing before anything else. And we do that type of stuff where we teach our customers to first interact with their collector list all the time. And it is one of the most powerful marketing techniques and tactics that is available to an artist today. And it is so important. I can't even begin to tell you. So I love that you brought up that example. I love that you're doing that. It is a big deal. And never underestimate, one, the subtle psychology of reciprocation, okay? Like, when you do something nice for someone, they subtly want to do something nice for you. But then also, you need to realize that it is a tremendous way to drive commission business too, because even if they don't want to buy something that's in your collection or whatever, a lot of times what it ends up doing is they're like, I don't love that particular thing, but I'll tell you what, I am interested in new work. Would you do such and such for me, right? But we have, we have some artists, and admittedly not all of them, okay, and not a lot, but they will sell 30 to 60% of whatever the new thing is just by showing it to collectors before they show it to the general public, right? And so we have them, anytime they're coming out with a new series, or if there's somebody that just does a work a quarter, anytime they're coming out with a new work, or if they're having a live art show, we encourage some of our customers that, and again, you have to have a customer list to do this. There's other ways to do it, but if they're going to have a live art show, kind of like what I showed in the presentation, they'll do a private live art show in Zoom, like we're doing now, just with the collectors before the real live art show even airs. And so then they get all their collectors in one Zoom. They're having the Q&A and kind of all hanging out together, showing off the pieces, talking about them. And then the collectors get to know each other. And sometimes they're like getting a little bidding wars with each other. It is such a fantastic marketing technique and tactic. So I really have to affirm you for doing that and knowing you can do that. And one of the awesome things too that we offer on POD are coasters, and the coasters are really, really popular to send in the mail too. I got an example of them here. You can see she's got even the QR codes on the back, which are awesome with the new technology. But just to set it the little cardboard coasters are insanely powerful to collectors. And, hey, just wanted to say thanks again for your continued patronage. I decided to add fun coasters to my store because I really think they're original and interesting looking. Just hope you can have a drink on one, have a great summer, and you shut up. You don't say anything, right? You don't say anything after that. And you just watch what ends up coming back by being awesome and treating those folks special. And, especially when you have higher price point works to sell to them, which it sounds like you do, then, it might cost you $40 per collector to send all of these various different coasters to them. Let's just say it's less than that, but let's just say all it takes is one of those folks to buy a $15,000 work, and you've covered that marketing experience quite significantly, haven't you? Uh-oh, I think you muted again. Yep, I think she's gone. Wow, you got me ranting. Either way, great work on the collector stuff. Yeah, and Arlene on Facebook is asking me, it's a good question. You've never priced your art that high. How do you figure out what paintings are able to get a price tag of over $2,000? There's two parts to the equation, Arlene. There's one, over time you slowly raise your prices, and not every business has to do this. You can get one up there. The larger part is a phenomenon called price anchoring. And so I recommend that you have prices 0 to 100, 100 to 1,000, over 1,000. Okay. So let's just keep it really, really simple. And so let's say, Arlene, your most expensive piece is an original you're selling for $1,200. What we teach you to do in that scenario is create a bigger work, or grab one of your more elaborate works and set the price of that one to, let's say $10,000. And the reality is you might not ever even care, Arlene, to sell that piece for $10,000. The reason that it's up there is a phenomenon called price anchoring, where somebody will come into your store, they'll see your body of work, okay? They'll see that piece for $10,000, and it'll make them feel better about the purchase that they're going to make for $1,200. There's psychology there. And to give you an example, when you go to the Mercedes dealership or the Toyota dealership or whatever it is, and they have the little glass box in the middle, right? The dealership office. And inside there are their most high-end cars, right? Let's just say it's the Toyota dealership. They've got the Toyota Supra SS turbocharger, just wow car. They have that inside the glass box. The same reason that I'm asking you to price a piece at $10,000. Almost no one is ever going to buy that car, right? But you feel a little bit better about buying the $85,000 Toyota Highlander, knowing that you're not buying the $200,000 Supra that's inside. And every once in a while, somebody does come in and buy the $200,000 Supra. And the reason that they're getting $200,000 is because they have that product on offering. So it's something that works on both levels. And they're just fundamental retail concepts that no one ever taught artists and that they need to do, right? That they need to do. I love this question. This is a great one. Yes, I do. Sidekick Cato. You know, go ahead and do a live show with our website. Absolutely. You can do one today and you can just say, send me a message here or you know, I take PayPal, Venmo, cash, check, messenger, pigeon, however you want to get me the money, I will ship the piece to you. You can absolutely do it that way when you start. It's way better, obviously, if you have a website because you can direct them there and take payment and do all of those things. But all good. Like, run one, Sidekick Cato. Run one today. I will watch. You'd send me a message and tell me when you're going to do it. Anyway, Darlene, we lost you and then you came back. I don't know what the last thing you heard was.
Oh, I don't think I've lost anything.
No.
No. I mean, I'm still able to see everything that, as far as answering her questions and about those coasters. Okay, and I guess I'm wanting to ask like the same thing that Arlene did. Mm-hmm. The highest priced painting that I have mm-hmm. is just under $400, mm-hmm. and it's a 30 by 40 mm-hmm. painting. Do I need to jack that up over 1,000, or do I need to paint something bigger?
The larger point is that it's not about. You have to look at your offering as a whole, okay? And the rule of thumb is that you need to have prices $100 and less. You need to have prices from 100 to 1,000, and then you need to have prices over 1,000. In addition to that, you need to have non-wall art as a part of the lineup, and that's where the merchandise comes in: coasters, calendars, books. It can really be anything. It just has to be non-wall art related. And so when you look at that, and you're like, okay, this is the pricing matrix that I need to get myself in. You're like, how am I going to get there, right? And traditionally, the way that you get there is the under 100 is merchandise and smaller paper prints and smaller prints. The 100 to 1,000, you get there by open edition prints. Open edition means, you know, they're not limited. You can do as many as you want. And it starts with the small sizes and then kind of kicks up. And, you know, you have your various different media types. You have your papers. You have your canvases. You have your metal. You have your acrylic. And then to step yourself up the range, then you start doing limited editions, okay, at you know, the 800 to 1,000 to the $1,200 range. And then your originals, that sets a nice spot for them. Now, that's the general rule of thumb to get there. Everyone has to kind of like adjust the taste for what they're doing. But, you know, if you have just a small number of pieces and you don't have the prints and you don't have the other stuff, it's sort of impossible to just automatically jack one up, right? Because at the end of the day, all of the pricing is utterly, totally, and completely irrelevant if the work is not selling. The work has got to sell, right? The work has got to go out into the world. So, but I have like a really in-depth article that I wrote on this that I'm really proud of. I'm going to pull it up now, and I'll send it to you guys. I got to get it into the. Hold on, I'll show you. I'm pulling it up right now.
While you're pulling that up, mm-hmm. The jewelry that I have, some of it is, you know, from leftover paint, mm-hmm. the paint skins. All right, and then I've started making resin jewelry. Mm-hmm. Is that okay to mix it all in, or should I be just focused on everything to do with my paintings?
Yeah,
in other words,
no, you can totally mix it in. You can totally mix it in. It's great, and it's non-wall art, right? Like that's a wonderful way to go.
Okay.
But click the link in the chat. This thing's called pricing strategies, advanced pricing strategies for artists and photographers. This walks you through step by step, really systematically, how the whole thing works, why you need the range of pricing, why you need the various different media types, how to assign various different works to the various different boxes, and then it gets into some in-depth, detailed, tactical about markups, negotiation, running sales. It's really comprehensive in terms of pricing, because I got to tell you, like, pricing and all of the emotional baggage that goes with pricing is like probably like one of the biggest diseases that inflicts the artist and photographer, right? Like all of the psychological stuff about, how do I charge what I'm worth? And what do I do when somebody negotiates? And how do I get time plus material? And what are the right price points? Like, once you have this pricing matrix, the way that I lay it out, it solves so much of that nonsense. And then not only that too, like one of the biggest problems that you guys run into are that people constantly trying to lowball you on stuff, right? And it's like you've got something that you want to charge $2,500 worth, and you work so hard on it, and they're like, yeah, I'm not going to give you $2,500. I'll give you $400. Would you take $400? And what do? Instantaneously, you're offended, right? How could you say something like that to me, right? And you get all upset and angry, like, you little twit. Do you have any idea how time, all of those things? One, when you have the range of pricing, the lowball stuff almost never happens because they realize, these people, they don't know any better, right? They don't know how many hours that you spent on a thing or what you're worth or all the rest. When you have the range of pricing, then it like settles them down. It's like, there's the stuff under $100. There's the stuff 100 to 1,000. There's the stuff over 1,000. And then also too, when someone does come in and do that lowball stuff, you're like, actually, no, that one's $2,500, but let me show you what I do have for $400, right? And you just steer that person right to where they're supposed to land, and the situation is covered. Like, no, you cannot get the original, but you could pick up a print. What media type would you like it on, right? So it's all just maths at the end of the day. And it's like basic mathematical formulas in pricing and retail that never got taught at art school and never got taught in photography school, and it should have, because it's how you turn a creative passion into an actual business that you can live off of and pay your bills. Quite frankly, it's why we exist. But anyway, I'm in a ranting mood on a Friday here.
It makes perfect sense. Yeah. I'm on my phone, so when you email us, can you include that link as well?
I certainly will, darling.
Thank you.
You have a great weekend. Yep. All right, go, Emily. Now I'm running out of steam.
I'll try to take it easy on you. As far as limited edition prints, like, what are these being printed on that you could add?
Oh, there's the only rule is that they're limited. Otherwise, there is zero rule whatsoever. What you're really asking me is like, well, how do I sex them up for, like, how do I dress them up so that they look special? And they can be hand signed versus none of the rest of them are. They can be on a special media type. They can be a specific size. They can be a rare subject matter. It doesn't even matter. It's utterly, totally, and completely arbitrary. Pick something in your inventory. Say they're limited to 50 or limited to 20 or limited to 4 or limited to 6. The number doesn't even matter, and all of a sudden you have limited edition. Boom, done.
You can't really do it print on demand unless you have.
100% you could do it on print on demand. What are you talking about? Yes,
you can. I'm trying to stage a question here, because if you needed to sign it, say 1 of 50 or something like that, you couldn't do that, right?
So there's a couple of different ways to do it. One, you can include a certificate of authenticity that says what the numbers are. 2, you can have it POD shipped to you, take it out of its beautiful packaging, sign it, seal it back up, ship it to them in the exact same box. Yes, you incur an extra shipping cost there, but you know what you do? You mark it up so that it's covered. We have some customers that do that, and we have some customers that don't do anything at all. They just call it a limited edition, and that's what it is. There's no absolute rule of thumb that works in every single solitary scenario. There are just the maths. If you don't have limited editions, it is more difficult to hit that price point. It is more difficult to establish the hierarchy of pricing as it goes and steps up the ladder. And so just pick one and do it. This weekend, Emily. This weekend. Let's go. Let's go. Giddy up.
You know it like a challenge.
Yes, you do. So I made Emily do a live art show, and she did it. And then she let me off the hook on buying anything. But I'll.
No, I didn't. I said wait until my website launches, and my website launched last month.
Okay, you email me the website then, and I'll look at it.
Okay.
I will live up to I live up to my commitments. I just do. All right, I'm running out of gas. Final questions, guys. Anything? Something? No? Natalia, are you driving again? You are making me nervous. Eyes on the road. Eyes on the road. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out with me on a Friday. I hope you all. What? Oh, do you have a question, Natalia? I can't tell. Do you have a question? Yeah or nay? Oh, now you're really making me nervous. I shouldn't have asked. I think she does.
Hello?
Yes, I've got you.
Hello?
Eyes on the road,
Okay.
not on the phone.
I'm driving and doing some stuff because my daughter's graduation is tomorrow, but I'm trying to understood everything that you say.
Mm-hmm.
English is not my first language. But
what is your first language? Is Italian?
I am an artist.
Uh-huh.
No, Spanish.
Oh, Spanish. Okay.
So I am an artist, a local artist in Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want to display somewhere my art.
Okay.
And I know you're talking about websites.
Yes.
So is it what you do?
Yes.
Or you put our art in one website for all the artists? Several artists.
Es un poquito diferente, pero Natalia, tenemos alguien en mi equipo que se llama Juan, que es muy fluente en español, y él puede hablarte si quiere.
Ok, sí.
Mándame un email y yo puedo conectar usted.
Ok.
Ok, bueno.
Ok, perfect. Okay. Perfect, thank you.
Gracias. Even closed it out with some Spanish lingo. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all. Oh, Daniel Sanchez has a question. Would I have to go with your company's designated print companies? No, you don't have to, Daniel. You can continue to use them if you want to. I don't want you to, mind you. I want you to use ours because, for the reasons that I mentioned, like, getting an order and then sending the order to your printer and then following up with your printer and then the printer going, do you want to come down and check this? And then all of that, like, I get it that it's awesome, and I get that you have a printer that you really like, and I get that it's a killer relationship, but that's all time that you're not growing the business, Daniel. That is all time that you are not acquiring additional customers, and it adds up, and it adds up quickly. It adds up super quickly. So, if anything, you could use you could use our company to do the online stuff and then use your guy to do the local stuff. So you sort of have both of them on offer. But the whole thing is not about like which printer you use. Really, at the end of the day, the whole thing is about the arbitrage, the opportunity cost of your time. Like you're coming here today to me and you're saying, Patrick, I want you to help me grow my business so I can make more money off my creativity. And I'm saying, Daniel, you can't do that going and interfacing with the printer and running around and dealing with all that nonsense. That is not how you grow that business. And so help me help you stop doing your prints. Like, it's sort of a tough pill to swallow, but it is absolute truth. Like the best use of your guys' time. And it's no different than when I was speaking to the other gal about, I'm terrible with names, about building your own website. It's like, you're here because you want to be a creative person that creates the thing and sells the thing. You're not here because you want to be a web programmer. You're not here because you want to be a web designer. That is not the best use of your time. It is all fundamentally about the opportunity cost of your time. And if you're putting them, and when I say you, this is most artists, okay? Almost all of you guys are guilty of this. If you are putting those hours into things that are not getting you to your stated goal, what in the world are you doing? Stop wasting your time on that nonsense. Either decide that you want to make a business out of this or don't. But if it's want to make a business out of this, you got to stay in your lane. You got to create the thing, you got to market the thing, and you got to sell the thing. And anything that gets in your lane is just traffic. We got to get that traffic out of the way. This is all I do all day long. And yes, Steve, I'll have Matt contact you. Matt, our resident Kiwi, our on-staff Kiwi. Yes, I'll have him contact you. I'm gonna copy your name right now too, Steve, so I don't forget. I'm just going to put it in Slack. Any finals before we go? I'll tell Matt. Okay, I just sent him a message, Stevie, so I closed that loop. There's no way that's getting forgotten. All right, guys. Well, everybody have an incredible weekend. I really appreciate you spending the time. Daniel, I didn't realize you were there, Daniel. I'm going to unmute you just in case you want to push back on any of that. You have to hit the mic icon, Daniel, bottom left-hand corner. I'll let you know when you get it.
Okay, no, that's just my main question. I guess my concern would be quality of the prints, but I'm sure you've done your homework.
It's the biggest non-issue in the history of mankind. I mean, the sad thing is, like, and I should say that I've been in this industry since the very first G-Clay was created, right? And G-Clay is just a fancy word for saying inkjet print. I've seen it start from the very first one, the very first inkjet printers, all the way to where it is now. And it's really interesting, because it's like, what is it, like a good 25 years now? And the way that the technology has worked, like early on, all these small mom and pop shops started, and the service was awesome, and some of the tricks that you would do and the technology back then. Nowadays, everyone has the same printers. Everyone has the same ink. Everyone has the same screen calibrators. Everyone has the same cutters. Everyone stretches the canvas the same way. And the only difference between one or the other is one buys ink by the barrel and one doesn't. That's it. So the quality is just the biggest non-issue in the history of mankind.
Got it. Awesome. Thank you for answering that question.
But don't let yourself do it. Do not waste your time on the printing. Your guys' businesses are never going to grow doing that. I know you like it. And like, look, I'm an amateur photographer. Going down and seeing that thing come off the printer is like such like a eureka moment. It's like, oh my God, this is amazing. I want to see it, right? But it'll never grow the business. So that's what I'd say. But okay, have great weekends at all. Marjorie, yeah, you can just fill out the demo request form. It'll be in the email that I send you. Yeah, enjoy the summer weekend. And we didn't even talk about Q4, but don't worry. Like, you'll see me banging the drum so hard on this Q4 stuff going forward. I can't not even begin to tell you, because you blink and Q4 is here. And, it's really a situation where, my buddy's wife, who's like a fitness nut, she always says, like, summer bodies are made in winter, like her point is, like, if you want to look good in a swimsuit in the summer, you better hit that gym in the winter, or you're not going to get there. Right. That's what Q4 is. Like, really good fourth quarter Black Friday, Cyber Monday results come as a result of having your art up on a website and starting to do the active marketing between now and then, such that when that Black Friday, when that Cyber Monday comes along, you're cooking with gas. You're ready to roll, rather than contemplating things. So that's what I got. Appreciate y'all. Great weekends all. See you again, hopefully in a future session.